respected Arya Muniji, the chief guest, my two elder brothers, Dr. Sabnis and Dr. Jagirdar. I'm saying this because in the inaugural session I said that Sakshi is a spiritual movement. It's not just an institution. But at the end of our deliberations, I've begun to realize that Sakshi is actually a family. And I'm very honored, very happy to have been included as an honorary member of this family. Thank you very much. All of you would have seen how the real members, I mean, not that we are not real, but all the members of Dr. Jagirdar's family have been here, they've been working continuously, and the members of the Sakshi family like Dr. Nagendra, who I think practices what he preaches, not preaches what he practices, because I can't imagine how he's had this level of energy throughout for 3 days and waking us up, in different ways and exhorting us to go within. So, I mean, this has been an extraordinary, as you said, sir, a confluence, and we are all happy to have come to this tirtha, this Jnana Tirtha, and have benefited. I certainly have benefited tremendously. I've learned so much. I've been really, really blessed. I feel elevated. Dr. Narayana Swami is also here. I had occasion to spend a couple of days in his home, and it took me so many years to really appreciate the depth of his knowledge and his dedication to the Veda. So I think that, let me come straight to the topic, which is what has happened in these last 2.5, 3 days. It is impossible to summarize, so I'm not even going to do that at all. But we've had some really, really important presentations, and some challenges have been posed before us, especially the challenge that Dr. Sabnis has posed before us, which is that how do we take humanity itself to a higher level of consciousness, which is why we believe that Sri Aurobindo and the Mother came. Their avataric presence in our midst was to take human consciousness to the next level. And what do the Vedas have to do with this? Now, the first thing we must remember is that it is not going back to the Vedas, as the great Dayanand Saraswati ji said. It's something different. The Vedas are not the past. That is why we call this conference the Living Veda. And the Living Veda has two meanings. That is the Living Veda means the Veda lives on. So it is very much a part of our present. It is not a part of the past. But it also has another meaning, because the phrase Living Veda, living is a gerund, okay? So it works both as a noun and a verb. I'm an English professor, and now that we have accepted that English also has an akashic element, all languages have an akashic element, okay? It's only that Sanskrit Deva Bhasha, Sanskrit itself means refined, that it was purposed. Sanskrit was purposed for a special, I think, for a special need of humanity, okay? That is what makes Sanskrit special. But all languages of Sanskrit have a refined element and Prakrit. Because language, as Sri Aurobindo says, comes from Prakriti itself, which is very different from what Ferdinand de Saussure said, where he said the word horse is an arbitrary word, and it can be called equus, it can be called ghoda, it can be called ashwa, but we don't agree with that. Sri Aurobindo doesn't say that. He says that swara and vyanjana have a natural prakritic signification, which is what Dr. Nagendra was also saying. Anyhow, sorry for this diversion, but now that we accept that all languages have the akashic element, one of the great confluences we have seen here, by the way, is the confluence of Sanskrit, Kannada, English, and other languages, which is how Bharatiya Sanskriti has always been. It's always been a confluence. It's not one language, one book, one prophet, one deity, one religion, one God. No. It's always been plural. And in fact, this pluralism defines Bharat, in my opinion. So, to come back to this question of higher consciousness, Veda is not something of the past. It's living Veda. But as I said, living is a gerund. So living Veda means we are living the Veda. We have to live the Veda for the Veda to become alive again. So the Veda itself is living because, as somebody said, it's our Paurusha, and even if the rishis received it, it has to be renewed. But by living the Veda, we ourselves become living Veda. I think this is the ultimate purpose of a conference such as this. And then for higher consciousness, as Sri Aurobindo himself said, Bharat has to play a very important role. Because this land of light, the Prakasha, the Bhaswati iti Bharata, we have to take this light of Sanatan Dharma to the whole world, which is really thirsty for it. They really need it. And this is, as I said in my inaugural remarks, if humanity and planet Earth have to be saved from suicidal overconsumption and the pursuit of power, pleasure and profit, without dharma and without, if not moksha, at least the dharmic way of life, the Vedic way of life, mumukshatva, without coexistence between Purush and Prakriti in the sense of human beings and nature, without all of this, I'm afraid the experiment, because humanity is an experiment, humanity will also give way to some other species, maybe machines will take over. So, we don't want to be the last generation, even if some of us are the lost generation. And so that we are not the last generation, we have to become the living Veda. So it is not going back to the Vedas, it is not even going forward with the Vedas, which it is of course, but it is to bring the Veda back to us, because the Veda has been a closed book for many. And this is the first of, I hope, more initiatives. Now, as I said, Dr. Subnis has posed some challenges to us, and I want to address some of those. But I also want to say that this is a Triveni, because without Sri Aurobindo, we would not have had the key to the Veda. And again, I'm not being sectarian here, okay? I'm not one of those Aurobindonians who say only Sri Aurobindo and the mother, only Savitri. I don't do that, okay? It is the Jains have this Nyaya, it is not Syadavad alone, but it is Bhi, Ye Bhi, not Ye He Bhi. I don't know if I'm making sense. He means only this, Ye He Hoga. Bhi means Ye Bhi. This also, this also, this also. So I'm not one of those Aurobindonians who believe that only Sri Aurobindo. In fact, Sri Aurobindo, if he had said only me, why would he have written the secret of the Veda? Without being versed in Sanskrit initially, he was a classical scholar, okay? He knew Greek and Latin. And that is the fellowship he got to go to Cambridge. He was in a school in London, St. Paul's School, and he got a fellowship. He was a tripos scholar. And his tripos was a classical tripos, okay? But he made tremendous effort. The Upakram becomes the Parakram, to quote our great teacher sitting here, Ramchandra Bhatt Kottamaneji. He was a Parakrami. This is the point I want to make. And so was Dr. Kashyap. And so was Kapali Shastriya. These are Parakramis, and we have to be like them. We have to follow in their footsteps. So Sri Aurobindo took it upon himself to uncover the secret of the Veda, which could not have been done only through chanting. He had to have the text in front of him, he had to have Yaska, he had to have Shayana, he had to have the commentaries. And even when his eyesight was failing, his disciples used to read, and he used to correct the essays that he wrote from 1914 to 1916. Till 1946, he was still working on the Veda. And in a letter he wrote that I do not want to publish them in this form because they are incomplete. Look at his greatness. And yet his incomplete text gives us the key to unlock the secret of the Veda. And again, as I said, Sri Aurobindo was repeating in a way what Yaskacharya said. Not only the Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmika, Adi Yagnik meanings. This is in Yaska. So he was actually giving us the purity of the scripture in a way that had been obscured from the ages. I think we are running out of time, but I want to say a few things more because we want to take this effort forward with all your blessings. And here I want to just point out one or two things that we could not accomplish. For example, we could not engage with the Veda Bhashya of Dayanand Saraswati. So I hope in the next LV2 in Jaipur, because we know that Swami Dayanand Saraswati came from Gujarat, but he influenced Punjab the most. In fact, you might even say he saved Sanatana Dharma in Punjab, and because of him, Lala Lajpat Rai and others, there's a whole story to be unpacked there. But, he was poisoned in Rajputana, as you know, by a dancing girl of one of the Maharajas. In his milk, there was powdered glass. So I think in Jaipur, we should pay tribute to Swami Dayanand Saraswati. His 200th birth anniversary is going on. We need someone to talk about his contribution to our understanding of the Veda. Now, before I want to conclude, I want to bring to the attention of this audience something really important, which Dr. Narayan Swami told me. Kashyapji passed away last year on 11/11/2022 at 11 a.m. Exactly a year and a few days, because we started on 15th of December. So 1 year, 1 month and a few days. Okay, 4 days later. This conference and its proceedings, I would like, with the permission of everybody here, to dedicate to his memory. We are honoring him and his great parakrama, because he, after his retirement, he came to India and he continued the work of Sri Aurobindo Kapari Shastriyar. He translated all the Vedas, 26 volumes, 26 or 27,000 mantras. So he passed away last year. We owe it to his memory, I think. I believe his blessings have brought us together, because as I said, when I was director of Indian Institute of Advanced Study, with all the power to initiate a conference like this, I was unable to. So there was some deeper significance that we had to come to Bangalore, to Sabnisji, who is the most broad-minded of the Aurobindonians that I know. The most open, one of the most large-hearted, He's a great person. You should go to his school and you'll realize what he has done. And his father initiated this. And Jagirdarji. So we had to come down to Bangalore to do this. And I'm so happy that, I want to say one thing. See, I belong to the academy. I spent my whole life, from my PhD to now, in the academy. I got my graduation. I was in St. Stephen's College. Then I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I got my master's and PhD at the age of 24. I immediately came back to India. I taught at the University of Hyderabad. I was one of the youngest readers. I came to IIT Delhi, then to JNU. And we had one more important representative from the academy, from Indian Institute of Advanced Study, Indian Institute of Science, where Kashyapji also went. And this is very important. We must include the academy. So this is one of the things. Otherwise, you don't have credibility. We need the top academics in the world, okay? That is very important for our endeavor. Veda is not a closed book. It is not superstition. It is not some esoteric doctrine. It is something that must fertilize the creativity and the critical consciousness of the world. So the academy is one thing. So the Triveni that we were talking about, Sri Aurobindo Society, Sakshi and the academy. That academy connection we should continue, sir. This is one submission. The second submission is, and Vaishaliji also mentioned this, Dr. Narayan Swami also mentioned this, that the work of Sri Aurobindo, the adhyatmic meanings of the Veda, the work of Kapali Shastriyar, who belonged to a traditional Veda Pathashala and a traditional kind of, should I say, the traditional Adhyayan, Veda Adhyayan approach. We must also connect with the great mathas. And the great mathas are here in Karnataka. You know, we have the Sringeri Math. We have in Melkote the great, tradition of the Sri Vaishnavas. We had, and the great mutts of the Madhava tradition from Udupi and elsewhere. And representatives of all the three traditions spoke in our conference. This is a great thing. This is another Triveni of the three great acharyas of the south, which was also possible in Bangalore. Sir, I know you're looking at your watch. You want me to immediately stop? I can stop. Do you want me to do that? Or should I say a few more words? No, you must tell me the truth. Because in Veda, okay, fine. In Veda, we must speak the truth. I must tell you that. If there's no Satyameva Jayate, there's no Bharat. I must tell you that, okay? Which is from the Rig Veda, right? We must tell, Ritam Vachmi, Satyam Vachmi. Without this, I'm so sorry, there is no Veda, there is no Bharat. Anyhow, so within 5 minutes, I'll wind up. So we have to make some outreach to the mathas, and we need somebody from there to speak in our next conference. Maybe from one of the Madhava traditional mutts, because we already had a paper on Madhavacharya's contribution. Maybe we should take this forward. If the Sringeri Mutt, I know there is a gentleman here in the town of Sringeri, maybe he can go to the mutt. He's the Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan has an institution there. We need an outreach to the matthas. That is one. And on the other side, and I'm so glad today that Tripathi ji is here, and he made a few very important announcements. He's sitting right here. I would very much fervently wish and aspire that people in Pondicherry should also study the works of Kapali Shastriyar and also Kashyapji, because they have taken the Aurobindonian line of understanding the Veda forward. And I'm so happy that the Sri Aurobindo Society is creating a portal for this. I wrote a paper that Sanskrit should be our national language. It will stop all controversies. Only the DMK won't agree. That's okay. We have ways to take them along. But the mother said it before us. The mother said this. Even Dr. Ambedkar said it. That's a different matter. But I'm saying they have got a Sanskrit radio station. They have now a portal. This is a great thing, because all over the world we must see that a person with a Harvard PhD in engineering on Sri Aurobindo's lines, who studied at Cambridge, at King's College, Cambridge, on those lines we are reinterpreting the Vedas, or rather opening them out. And so these are some of the things we should do for Jaipur. These are some of the suggestions I have. And the last thing I want to say is that all of those, the second last thing, all of those who have given papers or who would like to give papers, kindly submit the papers. We would want to publish. Sakshi, I think, would like to publish this volume at the earliest, not later than 6 months, and they have a record for our early publication. That's why we don't want to go to any of the commercial publications, because for the next conference we want to show people, look, this is what we did. We didn't just come here, give talks and go away. Here is a record, and this can be the basis of, rather than our calling card, the book should be our calling card for the future. And now, truly the last thing. And the last thing I want to say is, if any one of us, especially myself, but any one of the organizers have, fallen short of your expectations, if anything in the organization or whatever in the food or If anything has fallen short, I beg your forgiveness. Please forgive us. Please bless us. If I have not mentioned somebody's name, please forgive me. It's not intentional. Sri Aurobindo has taught us we have to leave our egos aside. We have to live. Collective yoga is nothing but a community of human beings who want to leave their ego aside and call in the higher consciousness. So with these words, I beg your forgiveness. Give us your blessings. We want to take the Veda and this Adhyayan of the Vedas forward. Thank you so much. Thank you.